Now I've got my rain barrel set up. I've been able to get caught up. I decided I wanted to try switching over to rainwater instead of well water and fill all my tanks with rainwater while I have a good rain coming down. And I'll show you how I did that. I also made a little modification to this downspout diverter just by putting a little shield right here. It stops a lot of the water from escaping down the hatch. Basically this diverter is designed to allow leaves and stuff to go down the hatch and leave the good clean water going down the grate to the rain barrel, which is awesome. But my roof is clean right now, so, and I happen to be standing here, so I put this little shield in just to try to capture more of that water. And it's been working good, getting my rain barrel full a lot quicker, just in case the rain stops before I'm done with my experiments here. So this is what I did. This valve right here isolates the rainwater side from the well water side. So if I have this open, I can either pressurize the rainwater side with well water or vice versa. So in this case, I want to pressurize these two tanks with rainwater that are normally pressurized with well water from this pump from that well. So of course I unplug this pump and make sure this one's plugged in. A little cap on there. This is the tank that stores the rainwater. So by opening this valve, now all these systems are connected, and that's it. Unplug one pump and open that valve and you're done. So basically now when this pump kicks on, it's taking the rainwater from this suction pipe here, pressurizing it through this pump, goes out through this line, and it joins up with the rest of the plumbing in this tank. So I have an isolation valve here, but I also have one over here that isolates this whole system from that side, and then this tank has an isolation valve down here, and it has a drain right here, which is pretty handy. So now all three tanks will be pressurized by the rainwater. When this kicks on, you pressurize up to, right now I got it manually override to about 60 psi. Normally it stops at 55, so the pressure switches, you actually have to push this down right now to get it to kick on, but since I had so much water on hand, I figured why not. I'm standing right here. Normally what it does is it goes from 40 to 55, and I just adjusted the air pressure in my tanks to make sure that they were really close. So your air pressure is too low, the air bladder won't push hard enough to push that water out before the pump kicks on. So what you'll end up with is you're not going to get as much capacity in that pressure range. So if you know your pressure range that you want, in my case it's 40 to 55, you want to set your air pressure wherever it needs to be that your bladder collapses just after your pump switch kicks on. And the way you can do that is by unplugging the pump and draining your tank, and watch your pressure gauge, and as this thing falls, right when it hits 40, I'll hear the pump click. The little pressure switch will click, calling for the pump to kick on, and then, but since the pump is unplugged, it will not kick on, and then right as it drops down to 39, all of a sudden the needle just drops, which means the tank bladder collapsed. So that's just perfect. You want it to collapse right after that switch kicks on. So yeah, now we got all three tanks filled with rainwater. We got about 15 gallons of rainwater stuffed in there, and just, you know, the rainwater is nicer than the well water. It comes up with it's a little bit cleaner, less of a salt content. Doesn't really matter, it's just kind of an experiment, but it's nice to know that you can switch between one system and the other so easily.